Antenna Heads, the greatest hour in TV podcasting, where we cover the best.
9 minutes sometimes.
Sometimes it's 51 minutes.
Cut him right off.
Where we cover the best of TV from today and yesteryear, starring Cristina Ruju.
Yes. The cut-off machine.
And Alex Aruju.
I waited for Brayan because I have courtesy.
You wanna redo it? We can
Courtesy.
redo it.
The courtesy bear.
Discourteous Chris.
No H.
In either, actually.
In any of them.
That's your new website where she cuts
your
people
host,
off.
Brayan Casas.
Yes. Host?
Yeah.
Look at you.
Well, you're the stars. I'm just the host.
Oh, just the lowly host who makes 45% more than we do.
Yeah.
From
about
this financial venture known as Antenna Heads.
According to the IRS, this is all a loss.
according to Al's pockets, it's a loss too. So, how's your week, guys?
Terrible, but nobody cares.
Slow.
Everybody picked the Seahawks. It was a pretty bad week for all four of us, but only three
too
of us.
much ice.
Too much ice?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was sorry. I was yawning while talking.
My water's too cold.
That's what I thought she was talking about. I'm like, ice.
No,
I don't go outside anymore.
No,
so.
he doesn't.
My soda's too cold.
It's not my issue.
See, I too wish I could pretend I was a bear and just sleep through the winter, but alas, I cannot.
I do pretend I'm a bear. I hide berries and then I try to find them after sleeping for long periods of time. Do bears hide berries?
Let's start this all over again.
That way Chris won't cut you off.
We actually have new shows for a change.
Yeah. Finally. For a change, we do it like every other week aside from last week.
Friend.
Yes, new shows this week.
Flash.
But why are you tired of The Flash? It's great.
Know.
You like it more than we do.
No, I like it the most.
I think he likes it the most, but I'm the most positive on it. I give it better ratings than he does, and he likes it better than I do.
Because I'm more of a critic than you are.
I want it to step up. You need to bring your A game.
I thought that the last episode was really pretty good.
I didn't watch This Speaks. Is that the one you're talking about?
No, I was talking about the last one we reviewed.
You know what show got really good? Or
What's
better? Gotham.
Oh,
I thought you were talking about the far superior show on that network, Empire.
I haven't watched beyond episode 1, which you covered. I will, because I've been dying to watch some of it.
It's so damn good.
And ratings-wise, it's been a freaking powerhouse for Fox.
Oh yeah.
I think they had more 14 million people viewed this week's episode.
And the thing is, the music is still
solid,
so good. Like
a solid 5.9 or something like that, which is amazing for Fox.
New shows this week. Two big ones. One that I actually picked as a potential comedy that could change the way television comedies are going because they haven't been all that great in the last couple of years. And then Chris has shot me down, but I think a very good comedy that we reviewed this week.
Because I thought it was very much in line with a lot of the other shows on that network. And
I would say
other
it's a
networks.
cut above.
We're not talking about Allegiance, right?
No,
it's funny.
Comedy,
funny
my
show.
friend.
In Soviet Russia. All right.
Comedy makes you cry.
Anyway.
This will all be cut. That's the first one of the show, by the way, guys. If you're listening at home and I don't cut these out, if you tweet us at Antenna Heads the timestamp, I will commend you. And then you will get nothing else.
He'll be like, oh, someone is watching.
And if I don't commend you,
which I mean
you
listening.
Can't sue us. As you heard, we have no money. The IRS is...
Or on SoundCloud, you could literally just comment on the section.
But we want them to tweet us on Twitter.
Okay.
Where can they do that, Chris?
They could do stuff on SoundCloud too, because we're there too.
That's true. SoundCloud.com/antenna_heads, I believe.
I don't know that that's what it is, but you can just search us.
No, I think that's what it is.
Stop being lazy. Just Google.
Anyway.
Or you could just search Antenna Heads.
Everything
in a little
Antenna
search bar.
Heads.
And of course, we also have a new... I'm just going to skip over everything that's been said.
Yeah.
We have a new drama on NBC, which been highly promoted. I was pretty high on when we saw the preview. I think I gave it like 2 out of 5.
I didn't see a preview.
I'm sorry, when we read the previews, because I liked the idea, but I was clear on what I wanted out of the show, and they gave me some of it, but not everything. So, Chris, what were you saying before I cut you off discourteously? Like discourteous Chris would?
Discourteousal.com.
You were saying...
I'll be registering that.
Do you have any idea what you were saying?
Discourteous Sally. Like Alice.
It's what Muhammad's been up to since his
Anyway.
death?
What I was saying was, because you had mentioned that I kind of counter said what you said about it being a great comedy, and I think that's because in terms of all the previews we saw, it was very much in line with all the other, racially charged well, not racially charged,
racially
but
focused.
racially driven. And the comedies, they all seem to be about, a family that was a different race and how, they were kind of outsiders and how their race affected their interactions with everyone else.
Yeah, go look at our review of Cristela if you need any further edification on what Chris is talking about.
Blackish. It was the same episode as Blackish, wasn't it?
Yeah, when we did the upfronts.
Yeah,
I think so.
Because it's ABC.
Yeah, but we did those in 2 episodes.
Okay, I think it was, but there was Cristela, there was Blackish, there was
this. And then the episode after we did this one. But nonetheless, it all ran the same, and we said essentially the same thing. These shows are just the same show, essentially. One's about an Asian family, one's about a black family, one's about a Hispanic family.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's not so different from, family shows like that, where it's a family dynamic, they already have Goldbergs.
They do. And they have The Middle. They have Modern Family.
It's just...
It's their bread. They have the Tim Allen one also.
It's not new.
No. I think
okay, but I know what you're saying. But at the same time, it's a new race essentially.
That's not what I mean at all. That's not what I meant at all.
No,
but we'll talk about that more.
No, but what I'm saying is essentially that's really the only new thing about it.
Can we tell everybody the name of the show?
No, because we're not going to talk about the show yet. So before we go to the new shows and we talk about those, I want to first look at some news because NBC had a lot of news coming out of it this week. One of the more interesting bits is that apparently they're really hard up for dramas.
More so for comedies.
Yes, but they're clearly quite hard up for dramas because they're considering reviving Law and Order.
That to me is not hard up for.
Now, when you're looking at bringing back a show you canceled only 4 seasons ago in 2010.
Heroes.
But that was longer ago.
Yeah, but still.
So there'd be more of a demand for Law and Order.
I think Law and Order.
Sorry, there'd be less of a demand for Law and Order.
So much longer. It had so many spin-offs. Like that's a big show to bring back because it had a lot of popularity behind it. Heroes got canceled for a reason. It only had 3 seasons.
And the 3rd season sucked.
So.
Well, they're talking about bringing it back. It'd be an abridged run. It'd be 10 episodes. And apparently it's not in production or creative consideration yet, but some cast members have already been contacted. Sam Waterston.
Yeah.
You love Sam Waterston.
Fucking love him.
From that episode of Friends where Joey's grandma is like, no, that's Sam Waterston.
I don't know. I love him because he was in commercials all the time.
He was.
And he was in The Great Gatsby.
Yep. Chris Noth has also been contacted. But some of the actors from Law and Order have already moved on to stuff. Of course, Anthony Anderson's on Blackish. He was on the last couple of seasons of Law and Order.
Oh, no.
And
they can't get Anthony Anderson.
They can't get the guy that ruined the series. What are they going to do? But more importantly, Jesse L. Martin can't be on the show. You know him now as Papa Fillins because he's on The Flash.
I fucking love Papa Fillins.
He's on The Flash.
Come on, man. You can do double duty.
No.
If the CW might allow him just because it gets him more coverage.
Nah.
But yes,
they might be petty like that.
It'll be interesting to see whether or not they go that way. It
depends about when it's recorded. Like when they're filmed, he can actually do it.
Well, he might have some exclusivity deal that he can't be on a different series on a different network while still on the CW.
That's really rare.
Well, but the thing is, I don't think they'd have it because it's the CW. I mean,
the CW has people all the time that do episodes here and there for other shows.
Yeah.
So I don't understand.
Not to mention all the background actors on the CW also have jobs at Payless. So, you can't blame them.
That's really fucked up.
They'll probably make a lot of money.
You don't know that.
You want to bet me?
First of all, a lot of them are Canadian actors.
I will bet you.
So they might have, thriving Canadian series.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Degrassi Series 30.
They may be crafty.
I will bet you the salary of one of those workers, or $6, whichever is more.
They make more money than you do.
Probably.
Yeah.
Anything is more. Well, I find money in the
I bet you that person
cushions,
who just works at Payless makes more money than you do.
Probably.
So stop.
But they don't have to
shit.
deal with old ladies. So
you have to deal with old ladies.
At Payless?
Yeah,
and they have to deal with old ladies.
I have to deal with old ladies.
Our old ladies go there.
To deal with old ladies cutting me off in the middle of a podcast. All right. Also in the news.
All right. That's how we're gonna play this.
That's right. The bitch is back. Take me to the pilot.
You are the bitch.
I am, and I'm back.
I think that's
As
the
we
joke.
had that whole discussion before.
that no one heard because I cut out, and now I'm gonna have to cut all.
No, it was before the podcast.
Okay. NBC also in the news because they renewed some series. Brian mentioned it before the show. Grimm was renewed. Law and Order SVU. Two of Chris's favorites, Chicago Fire and PD, and The Blacklist is also coming back for a third season. So all of their strong dramas coming back. Apparently, NBC is also first in the key demo of 18 to 49.
Until Empire totally slam dunks it for
that may change, but they do have a couple of strong ones.
Surprisingly enough, interesting on the bubble still. Mysteries of Laura.
Oh yes, shocker of all shockers.
Constantine.
That I saw a commercial for that advertising the next episode, and I was like, but I said it sucked. Wasn't it immediately canceled? And the answer is no. Friday nights is not that important to them.
What was the other show? I think they were saying, they're most likely greenlining a new show based on the Chicago Fire PD
franchise
universe.
Yeah.
Chicago Med.
Oh God.
Chicago Medical. Actually,
it's also called ER.
But that makes, I don't know. I feel like it's too much. It's too much, and it's so quickly because literally.
You know, it'd be great. Like
what?
Chicago Vet. Like a bunch of oh no, the dog got away. Meow.
That'll be next. You know,
I'd watch it.
Crossover. It'd be
you would not watch it.
Can you imagine they have to go help a dog, and then they discover these dirty pictures, and then they call in SVU to help find what
you already saw that in another
what
one.
the dog was up to, and then Batman shows up and he's like, "Oh, we need Superdog on this."
And then Bat Dog.
That was Batman, by the way, not Superdog.
And then
Why would Batman show up? That's a different network.
No, it wasn't his face from Chicago PD.
No, he's just gravelly.
That's Voight.
Oh, sorry, I forgot the name
Batman.
of the character who I saw for 2 episodes.
Bag of gravel for
Batman.
breakfast.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I said Superdog.
Sophia Bush gets hit by a bicycle for some reason.
And she dies. God, go back and she was in a coma, wasn't she?
No, she wasn't.
No, she had a concussion.
Concussion. Come on.
She got hit by a bicycle and had a concussion.
She hit her head hard.
And then
he hit her pretty hard there, dude.
In Chicago, when they went back to Chicago, somebody got hit by a car and was fine and just walked away. It's geez, Sophia Bush got to hit the gym. That's all the news. Maybe we find out Mysteries of Laura gets renewed. Likely not.
I fucking hate it.
If I'm putting money on it, I don't think so. Chris, out of these 5 shows, which one were you most surprised with about getting renewed? Is it Grimm?
Yeah, I wanted to say Grimm initially, just because I think
its ratings
in maybe a year ago when we did not a year ago. Maybe around the summer when shows were renewed, I guess. I was like, Grimm should have gotten canceled. I don't understand how it's still around. I think it has, from what I've seen, and even what you see in commercials, I feel like it has awful special effects, the worst. How could you not, worse than ABC? And ABC has some really shitty special effects, Disney level special effects, where it's just Disney, people would assume has good special effects.
Yeah. But they own Lucasfilm now.
For TV, they don't. Anything you see on ABC, it's it looks really childish, really fake. And this is just I don't know if they use more makeup and padding and stuff to really get
I'm the boob monster
that stuff across, but it just always looks awful. And I can't watch it. I tried to watch. I literally was like, oh, this sounds like a great show, and sat there and watched 2 episodes. And I couldn't get any further.
Mm-hmm. Their ratings tend to do pretty well. They get about 5 million viewers on average.
I believe NBC owns something on the show, either distribution or the rights to the show initially. And usually when a show makes it through 4 seasons, the syndication aspect of it will just kind of carry it through to 100 episodes. So it's pretty much guaranteed they'll bring it in. Whether it survives this or not, who knows? But figured they wanted to get to 100 episodes, get the syndication deal. They own a piece of it, I think. That's the only reason that they'd bring it.
That's why Last Man Standing stood up for a 5th season.
There's also some more news, which I don't know if you guys heard. Doesn't really affect Al, because Al doesn't care. But it affects Brian, and I have a feeling
tight pants are on sale? Sorry.
Downton is most likely only getting 1 more season.
Yeah, I heard that.
This next season is going
to be
the last.
It's on for 5 already, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's
this will be
now.
the 6th.
It'll be the 6th. The Julian Fellows is actually writing a a new show for BBC PBS, which is going to focus on an American couple in the early 20s, roaring 20s, let's say.
Okay.
So it's going to take place in America, 1920s, and I think it's starring the girl who played Cinderella.
Oh, she's really good.
Yeah. I don't know. That's what I heard.
You mean who plays Rose on Downton Abbey?
Yeah, I know.
Hope it's not on after midnight. Sorry. That was terrible.
Oh, that was supposed to be funny.
See, that's not funny.
No,
Bitch
that
is
was
back.
actually kind of clever.
Which is bad.
I'm the other bitch.
Oh, you
And
should
I'm
want
back
a
too.
bad bitch like this. Alright. There's
You
your
can't drop it low.
there's your weekly fucking fancy reference.
And if you did, you couldn't pick it up.
Actually,
And just like roll
That was
out of the
funny.
room.
if you want to see I'll try and drop below, tweet us.
Yeah.
At antenna_head.
Let us know.
Wow, it's so sad. It's like those pop-up ads that you get now on YouTube, which we're now on, by the way. We have a YouTube channel.
Speaking of shameless, we are shameless in our plugging of this podcast.
No, seriously though, those I just like found the way to say it, so I slipped it in there. But anyway, those YouTube ads are really annoying now that you can add multiple ones like throughout the video.
Mhm.
Fucking hate it.
Yeah, it's
not
monetization. What are you gonna do?
I know.
Let's look at the new shows we were looking at this week that made no sense. First one, coming from ABC, it's the comedy we were talking about ever so politely. It's called Fresh Off the Boat. Brian, Fresh Off the Boat. What's it about?
I think you were implying that I was fresh off the boat.
Brian, get back on your boat.
Oh,
You're not too fresh.
so, it's Chef
Eddie Huang.
Eddie Huang. He wrote a memoir, which I forget the name of it.
I imagine it's probably Fresh Off the Boat.
No, it's not fresh off the boat.
Maybe too clever. Actually, I really do hate the title, especially the word fresh, because I just go directly to Off the Boat. So whenever I have to look for the show, I just type in Off the Boat, and I never find the show.
That's because you don't know terms, and Fresh Off the Boat is like,
No, I know it
It's a
is, but
term.
like Off the Boat would have been fine.
no,
OTB.
because that's not the term. The term's
down.
Fresh Off the Boat.
I'm down with OTB. Yeah, you
and
know
like
me.
a bunch of
Okay, yeah.
I'm white. It's fine. I'm
Oh.
making the references this show makes because it's set in the 90s.
Never mind, it is fresh off the boat, a memoir.
Oh, no, he'd never do it, Al.
I thought it was something else. I thought it was clever.
It's not that clever. It's okay. Basically, it's the story of him and his family moving from Washington, D.C., from a very Asian-centric community to the area in Orlando where he lived, which is very Caucasian, and them trying to adjust. This first episode basically looks at his father bringing them all there so that he can run a new steakhouse that's not doing too well, and basically focuses on him and his brothers adjusting to their new schools, and his mother trying to adjust to living in a very Caucasian community. Fair enough?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought one of the greatest aspects of this show is just how funny the comedy is. Like, there have not been many comedies we've seen in the last year that I genuinely enjoyed as much as this one. I mean, right off the bat, in the first not even the first 5 minutes, the first 3 minutes in that scene where they're all driving in the van, you get so many good, just well-written jokes and just interplay between the characters that you don't see in a lot of other comedies. This is not your typical Chuck Lorre comedy. This is written much better than that.
Yeah, I think one of the things I took away from this was that the cast was very, it was well cast. The cast is very good together. They have a lot of chemistry. The kids are incredibly good actors.
Except for the main kid.
The main kid's a little weak, but I'll give him that. He's probably trying to play something that he's not comfortable with, whereas the other kids may be able to rely on their culture and play,
I feel like he's got the most, or the one defined, like, character.
Where the other ones, they kind of were allowed to flesh out on
They
their
feel
own
like
part of it.
natural human
Yeah.
beings, as were Hudson Yang, who plays Eddie. His story is that he's trying to adapt to Orlando culture by listening to a lot of rappers and we should also say this is set in the mid-90s.
Yeah, but
so he's listening to like Notorious B.I.G.
But it's not just trying to fit in. That's him. He's just American. That's what he
Yes.
wants to be. He doesn't want to be Asian American. He's just American, right? And that's, it's not that he's in Orlando now trying to fit in.
No, but he feels a kinship with those rappers in terms of, they're talking about not fitting in and, trying to find your way in the society and make it work. And that's really it goes with the struggle that he's going through.
Right. Constance Wu, who plays the mother, Jessica, maybe the best actress on the show. She's just fantastic. Everything she says is funny. Her delivery is wonderful. You can tell she believes this character, and it would be really easy for them to write this movie or write her as a typical character who's reserved and not sure about this new community because she's moving from somewhere where she felt so at home to somewhere very different. I love the fact that her character isn't that and is instead very confident in her dealings with, Caucasians, white people, but is also at the same time very confused and just really annoyed by them more than anything else. She's fantastic. There's a scene in the first episode where I think Eddie's going to school and she's just like, "Why do all your shirts have black men on them?" And that one line just sold her to me. It's perfect delivery. It's wonderful.
Why do all your shirts have black men on them?
Chris? I don't know. I didn't think it was as funny as you did.
I thought it was fantastic. The father, he's great. There's the interplay between Eddie and him when they're in the van and they're driving to Orlando, and it's he's talking about the steakhouse that he bought, and he's like, "It's big, brown, and beautiful," and Eddie goes, like Shaq?" And he goes, "Just like Shaq."
Yeah.
And that delivery was fantastic. At the same time, his character of being very comfortable moving to Orlando, trying to adopt some of these Caucasian, I don't want to say stereotypes, but trying to be more American, for lack of a better phrase, and being so happy the whole time, in spite of how upset the rest of his family is just great. There's also the line where he's looking for somebody to be like the maitre d' of his restaurant, and he's like, "We need somebody white, somebody with a nice white face, like Bill Pullman." And I'm like, that joke is great too. And one of the reasons I like that is because while it is a very period joke, Bill Pullman, nobody's really making Bill Pullman references unless they're watching 1400 or 1600 Penn, a terrible show he was on with what's-her-face? Remember?
Jen
Elfman. I can never remember her name. But the thing is,
love Dharma and Greg.
The joke overall,
she's just Dharma.
The joke overall isn't funny because he says Bill Pullman. The joke overall is funny because of his delivery and the interplay between the two characters. If he had said any modern white actor, it would have been just as funny because of the way he delivered it, not because of who he says.
I was blow drying my hair and I figured it out, how the restaurant can attract bigger crowds.
What? How?
I need to hire a white host. Instead of people coming in and seeing a Chinese face and saying, "Huh? I thought this was an Old West steakhouse." They see a white face and say, "Oh, hello, white friend. I am comfortable." See? Exactly. Now welcoming. That's why no to your face and yes to the white face. Nice, happy white face like Bill Pullman.
Even with the Shaquille O'Neal line, if he had said LeBron James, it would have been just as funny.
But my big problem with it was I never laughed.
I laughed all the time. Honestly, I laughed all the time.
Well, I'll just continue on. Randall Park is the name of the actor that plays the father. He's also on Veep, and he's excellent on Veep. He plays Danny Chung, one of Selena Meyer's nemesis. Nemesi?
Yeah.
All right, Nemesi.
That's what I say.
The 7 nemesis.
I have many.
Huh.
I don't know.
I'm a hateful person.
But yeah, he's fantastic. Even the little brother, I think it's Emery
and Evan. Emery is the middle one.
I think it was
Evan is the younger
Evan is the younger one.
I think
Emery is the one that they wanted to be Emily because they wanted a girl.
Emery is the one who gets the girlfriend.
No.
No? No, Evan, I think so. Evan is the younger one.
Evan's the youngest.
Yeah. But Evan is fantastic.
No.
Yeah.
Emery's the youngest one.
I don't think so.
Because they wanted Emery to be Emily.
Maybe they...
Right?
I don't know.
That's the youngest one.
That's the youngest one?
Yeah.
All right. So
okay, well...
Right? Show him the
I'm going to
picture.
refer to the youngest one because that's what I'm talking about here. The youngest of the sons, there's this great interplay with him and Eddie where basically they're talking about taking the school bus for the first time, and he's like, "I'm sitting next to Emery. I don't know who you're going to sit next to because you take a different bus, but you won't be sitting next to Emery because I'm sitting next to Emery."
Yeah.
That was fantastic too. It's like the writing on the show is great. It's not, I really love the fact that it doesn't sink into that, it doesn't sink into that Goldberg's issue where everything about the show is 1980s. Like, we're the family that's set in the 1980s. This is not the family that's set in the 1990s. This is not even Surviving Jack on Fox.
Thank God.
the aspects of the show that are funny because of the writing and because of the cast, not because of what decade it's set in,
And the show,
or because of the fact that they're Asian
show
for
could
that
take
fact.
place now, could take place 95,
Right.
could take place in 85. It would have been funny either way. I agree with you.
And at the same time, it would have been funny even if they were an Asian. If this was a Caribbean family or a Norwegian family, it would have been just as funny because it's the same story of people acclimating to a different environment, which is timeless.
I think what I did appreciate was that a lot of the references in terms of like, well, there's two references specifically, I felt were legitimate. Like they were real references that you could understand, well, that I understood.
Was it Bill Pullman?
No. So, when the mom's talking about, how she misses her Taiwanese grocery store or whatever, that is literally when you go into the grocery stores in Flushing, like, it's exactly like that. And it's people shoving and like fighting over stuff and like just screaming and yeah, it's real. Like that's what it's like. And the Lunchables reference, because every kid wanted to have
except
Lunchables.
he went to go heat it up.
I didn't understand that.
No.
No one heats up Lunchables.
One of the main like veins of story in this episode.
No.
The black guy pushed him out of the way.
Yeah, he went to a microwave, and don't you remember at the end? And then he calls him a chink, which I felt was totally unnecessary.
Oh, because he had the pizza one.
Oh,
but you
man.
don't heat it up. You never
You
heated
could
it up.
essentially,
Yeah, because then it'd be cold because it was refrigerated.
but everyone always ate the pizzas cold.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know.
cold pizza.
Besides, your Lunchable wouldn't be cold. It was in your lunchbox all day.
That is true. It would have been room
Well,
temp.
unless you had early lunch.
Doesn't matter.
Both could argue.
How early?
It's like the great debate here. Lunchables.
Freaking high school had lunch at 10:30.
There is basically one of the main stories is that Eddie is trying to adapt to his new school, and he at one point nearly befriends the cool kids until they find out that he's eating a very Asian lunch, and they think it
Chinese,
smells.
Guys.
Is
Chinese.
he Chinese?
He's Chinese.
he's Chinese.
Okay, I can say Chinese. I didn't want to.
They're Taiwanese. Their parents. They're from Taiwan.
So you're being a racist.
No, I'm not.
You're not, but you're
The whole time they're
wrong.
saying they said he was Chinese,
Okay.
right?
Asian.
Because he called his brother Chinese narc.
Yes, I think I think Eddie Wong himself is Taiwanese. I think for the purposes of the show, they're Chinese.
Okay.
But he did say his parents were born in Taiwan.
In the show?
Yeah.
Oh, then they're Taiwanese. Don't call them Chinese.
Fair enough.
They won't. They're considering themselves independent. They want representation.
That's why I said Asian.
They're Taiwanese.
They're eating.
Isn't Taiwan? Is Taiwan the one where
No,
every
that's
50
Hong
years?
Kong.
No, that's Hong Kong.
Oh.
Taiwan is an island that China
Your
owns.
geopolitical knowledge.
No, I'm just really bad in
But
terms
Taiwan's
of geography.
been wanting to be acknowledged as an independent country and seek.
So they're Taiwanese.
It's totally.
Okay. Let's see what IMDb says about them.
God, Dad. Okay, it's totally irrelevant to the point of the
Not
food.
at all.
Because
Not at all.
he's eating the food. The food is different. It smells odd. And they start picking on him. And I thought what was very interesting was there was a story where they could have
He
easily.
said it was Chinese food, though.
You did.
No, he said in the
he might
thing.
have.
Yes.
I'm trying to get to a point here. The
Sorry,
point is that
I like to cut people off.
evidently. The point is that they could have easily gone the simple route of having him have a bully. But this story is far more interesting where it's not just that somebody's being mean to him, but there's this vein where he befriended for one point this black kid who was sitting by himself and then immediately left him when he thought there was a chance to be with the cooler kids. And I thought that alone was a far better depiction of what kids would actually be like. Because it's easy to say, oh, he's got a bully. That's so cliched, it's so easy to do.
Right.
Here there's better storytelling.
No, it was realistic. I liked it. I thought the reaction of the kids was real. I mean, listen, all three of us have taken the 7 train, and somebody decides to eat kimchi at like 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
It smells like shit.
Or those
and it's
weird,
gross.
like, wrapped, like, ball things with, like, rice in them.
That's the worst.
And it smells like shit.
I once had a
And
lady, like,
the
trying to eat soup next to me, and this is, like, on the 7 train, which is the most rickety line you'll ever be on.
So yeah, listen, you'll know, you can,
One's got powder
especially
on me.
kids will say whatever, and then oh, Eddie's eating worms.
Yeah.
I thought that was, listen, it's little kids making fun of each other, but that's what they would say.
Right. And to that point, I think it's a very well-written show
The
also.
most non-realistic was the fact that the black kid was having this like soliloquy or monologue, about, oh, now he's coming back and think you're too cool for me.
And even at the end, this black kid is the one who pushes him aside from the microwave and calls him a chink. I thought that was totally unnecessary.
Yeah, but you know what? This was kind of them pushing that race envelope and trying to start a conversation about how inappropriate is the word chink. Is it derogatory in the same way that, I had this discussion with Al. I don't think it's on the same level as the N word.
Oh, I think it is.
It's close.
To them, it is.
Oh, I think it is. I think while there may not be the same exact history in American society, although there's a separate history in looking at Chinese people in the West, to a Chinese person, it's just as offensive.
I was surprised they said it also, even though...
Especially because it's a comedy.
Yeah, and it's ABC. And
it's also because it's ABC. I mean...
One of the problems that Eddie Wong actually had with the show is the fact that they've actually toned it down a lot.
Wow.
And they've changed a lot of his... So they actually took some of what he says, the bite out of his words and the way he wrote it.
ABC.
And then that's why I was surprised that they said it. I even remember going... I was like, what?
Because, I mean, the whole time...
I wasn't shocked by it.
No, it's just so out of place because
Why?
It's a family sitcom. But it's being funny in a totally different way, and then to just put that in there it's startling, for lack of a better phrase.
And I think, but what was good about that was the way that they rallied around that, and they showed that they actually played it very well, and that the family rallied around that. They stood behind and said, well, you know what, my son may have punched this kid or whatever, but where is he? Where are his parents? Why isn't he here getting reprimanded for calling my son the C word? Right? I
think
that was a good way to kind of say, hey, this word isn't okay. And
I did like that in that it showed the overall connection and the support that the family has for each other, even though they're not very happy that they're in Orlando. There's still that strong family dynamic. I do agree with you on that, Chris. You wanted to say something.
I think that using the word worked because the whole episode he's sort of trying to make himself as American as possible. Mm-hmm. And in that instance, he finally stands up for, his heritage and basically says, who the fuck are you?
Right, but you could have easily written the character to say something offensive while not using that specific word. It's like on Empire. You can write a character saying something offensive to a black character without it being the N-word.
Yeah, but I think in that same sense, if you don't use the word, you lose that sense of reality.
I disagree.
Because people use it.
People
use it all the time. People say it. People say it without thinking, and people say it
but
to offend people.
But at the same time, there should be a sense of reality in television, but at the same time, you are broadcasting a show to people. You have to realize what you broadcast has an effect on how people view you as a show.
Yeah.
And I think it wasn't the word to use.
I think at the same time, the fact that...
Especially in a family comedy.
I think too often people assume that the word is not as offensive because people say it all the time like it's nothing. Yep. And I think the fact that they're showing this does upset people and it is just as bad as something that you would say to a black person or someone of any other race, that reinforces the idea that this is a wrong word to say.
I'll agree with you on that. I'll agree with you on that. I do have some negatives on this specific episode. We'll talk about the second episode in a minute. One, there is far too much use of 90s music in the opening scene. There's 5 different songs within 2 minutes. There's some rap song, but I don't know because I don't like rap. There's The Sign, which I do know because I like Ace of Base. Let's Give Him Something to Talk About is there.
It's not a 90s song.
Yes, I know, but isn't it?
No, I don't think so.
That was early 90s.
I don't think so.
Well, we'll confirm or deny later. But there's another rap song. There's just way too much. And that's the one scene where I was like, okay, I get it. You're trying to base this in the 90s, but you really don't have to do that because the comedy you're showing me is pretty funny. Just get past it.
I love that the mom was all serious when he's like, oh, it's your favorite song. It wasn't her favorite song. And then she just tilts her head and starts singing and it was so good.
Yeah.
She was excellent. She's definitely the strongest actor on the show. I think that was more the pilot jitters of trying to set the time, set the
1990.
Told you.
I think the fact that they almost felt they needed to overdo it to kind of, instead of hitting you over the head with 90s stuff, the music. Music's an easy thing to set a time. You can
I know, but
I agree.
I had a different issue with music in the later show we're going to talk about. But the only other thing that really annoyed me was the Caucasian characters, the neighbors, specifically the women who like jog through the streets. Yeah. I found them totally cliched and very suburgatory like, just in their constant happiness. And it really annoyed me that joke that they're trying to get across of how, oh, look how vapid and perfect on the shell that all these women look like. I hated that because we've seen that a million times. I didn't think it was that funny.
I honestly don't think that's far from the truth.
Well, far from the truth or not, they're going for a joke there, and it's a joke I think has been done too much.
At the same time, I don't think it's cliched only because normally when you see people like that on a TV show, they're bitches, and they would never just like go up and accept her and invite her into the group the way that they did. They would definitely give her the side eye and
complain that her
act nice, but then
nice.
Not nice at the same time, like underhanded comments, which they didn't make any. They weren't.
You love the side eye. You love
the side eye.
Anything else you want to add on this episode, or you want to go to ratings?
No, good ratings.
Chris?
Yeah.
All right, Chris, what was your rating on this?
I, like I said, didn't think of it as highly as Al did. I gave it a 1.5.
Wow. This might be the furthest we're ever apart on a rating.
I don't know. I didn't laugh. That was the problem. As, you know, as interesting as the things that it brought up were, I didn't laugh out loud. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even chuckle. And that's, I mean...
Right. That's why we have different hosts here. Different opinions.
Well, yeah. Different stars and hosts. I give it a 2.
Fucking fucker. I had it at 3.5 out of 5. For my rating on the second episode did go down a bit, though.
Oh, mine went up.
Did it? Well.
Mine did too.
Maybe they're seeing something we don't, darling. Let's give them something to talk about. Something to talk about. Let's give them something to talk about. Something to talk about. Let's give them something to talk about. How about love? I feel so foolish. I never noticed.
Let's talk about the second episode, though. Chris, what happens in episode 2 of Fresh Off the Boat?
Far improved.
In the second episode,
yes,
Eddie
comes home with a report card with straight A's.
Okay. I watched them back to back, and I literally just thought of them as one episode.
But this is the one you thought was better.
No, this is
I
much
thought this one was better. So Eddie comes home with a report card, and it's straight A's, even though he thought he was going to have to change it around and turn C's into B's. And I was just thinking of his pimp walk. That shit was amazing.
Oh, with the grandma? With the lead-in?
I loved it so much.
I ain't got time for this pimp walk.
He brings in his report card and he hands it to his mom, and his mom, instead of rejoicing, goes to the school and says that they're being too easy on him and they need to step up their game.
And that's after seeing the other kid's report card,
yes,
which is just stickers and...
Yeah, the youngest son.
Honestly, Constance Wu's character is just like a treasure trove of good lines. There's the one where, looking at that report card, she's like, 2 clouds, that seems bad. And the little one's like, no, that's good. And she's like, what are you, a farmer? No, it means rain.
Did she say he was a farmer?
Yeah, farmer.
Oh, okay.
It was funny.
It was great.
Then she goes to complain to the principal.
She does. She goes there.
And he's got a chicken on his lap.
He does. He has a little chick.
Put your lap chicken away.
Yeah.
Well, because she asks if they have a CLC, which is a Chinese Learning Center, near them, and apparently they do not.
No.
And a Chinese Learning Center is sort of like an after-school program with very rigorous expectations where you just sit for 3 hours and
learn more,
do every subject and violin, instead of, basking in the glow of the sunshine and playing with sticks outside.
With sticks.
Like regular white kids. So she pretty much takes it upon herself to create an after-school program for her kids.
At the same time, she's also being very bossy, I think is the word. I think that she's having her hands more in the business of the steakhouse, and it's starting to annoy her husband.
Well, because she sees, everywhere she looks, she sort of sees money going down the drain because they don't have customers coming into the restaurant, and she's basically counting all the ways in which things are being wasted, like electricity
Oh my
or
God.
napkins or
Too much-
pepper.
Oh god, he's shaking away our profits. Is maybe one of the
The
greatest
amount
lines.
of times they said, "Oh hell no" in that episode
Yeah.
was insane. Which I kind
didn't
of,
like.
I kind of was like, why is she saying "Oh hell no" when in the last episode she yelled at him about saying "hell"?
Well, 'cause
Because
she's the mom.
loosening up.
She's
She's
gone more American.
And
Yeah,
in a way, it
that's part-
illustrates the way in which parents preach one thing yet do another. Also,
well, there was a good scene though when they have the jukebox is plugged in, and she has the kids do the math.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
if
How much money they would be
it
losing.
costs 50 kilowatts at 11 cents a kilowatt, and it plays for this long, and the song is 3 minutes, and we charge 25 cents per song. How much money do we lose? And it's like
2.5
2.5
cents.
And they both kids answered at the same time, but one answered faster than the other one. He goes, It was great.
it was.
It was great.
There's,
it was well written. It was so realistic. You know, you could see. It doesn't matter if that they're Asian and they're doing math. That's not. I'm not trying to be racist. or
Could have been any
stereotypical.
culture doing
It could have
math.
been anyone. It's just two kids competing. The mother asked a question. She's a penny pincher. Obviously, she cares that she doesn't want. You know, they're not making money. They've been losing it now in their soft opening for 6 months, and you know she's worried and whatever. But it's just that's one small aspect of this whole thing, and you almost forget there were so many jokes packed into this
Golden
episode.
Corral or whatever it was.
So many jokes packed in. You almost forgot this was only 22-minute episode.
There's the one where, as Chris said, Eddie is with his grandma, and he's
Oh.
telling his mom how he got an A, and he's like, "Grandma, what does Fonzie say?" And she goes, "A." He just goes, "Psst."
Don't know. Straight A's, Moms. The one good thing about moving here is I have no friends and no distractions. That's why I got a... Grandma, what does Fonzie say?
A's.
Because he got multiple A's.
And then the best one too is the second one when he goes to announce to his mom that the father is actually, you know, rejoicing the fact that she's not there. And he goes, "Oh, forget it. I don't have time for the ping pong." And then the grandmother starts yelling at him, "Why did we practice?"
this? Oh, and she's like, after she turns off the radio, and she's like, "I got you." And she's like, "Damn, grandma."
The whole steakhouse storyline really builds to a point where the father has this table who's clearly going to dine and dash, and he goes and talks to them and says basically, you know, we're a family business. If you dash on us, we're gonna have to eat that loss. And he's like, you know, if you need to, we can work out some sort of payment method. What are you laughing
The guy pumping up his sneaker.
at? I told you it's a
She's
funny
like, that
show.
guy's even pumping up his sneaker.
And it's a very nice scene. And then of course they dash out on him. The one thing I didn't like was that was a very good scene in that it showed how he's a little too optimistic about life, and it established his character pretty well and did a decent job of that. Then you go to the scene where Constance Wu's character just hits him with a van. Just hits that group of kids with a van. And I thought there, you knocked me right out of the moment. I hated that. I hated that shot with the van because it's totally unbelievable. It may have happened in his real life. I don't know. It may have been in the book. But as telling a story, it really ruined what was otherwise a very emotionally grounded and a very good scene.
Hypothetically,
Yes.
let's just say it happened in real life.
Sure.
Does that change your opinion of it?
No, I still think it's a bad scene to put in this episode because you could have done a much better job of telling that story had she just seen them on the street, pulled over and yelled at them and made them go back.
Yeah, but what if she actually hit them? Then why would you not?
Include that.
Because it feels so unrealistic. Even if it is real, it's too unrealistic to believe.
I don't know, Al.
I could tell you I was abducted by aliens. If it's true, what does it matter? You still don't believe me. It feels unrealistic.
Well, doubting Thomas. What?
What?
I mean, aliens and getting hit by a car are not in the same league.
No,
Al.
it's an unrealistic thing, but I'm telling you, even if it is true, you don't believe me. It doesn't feel believable.
I don't know. I didn't think of it as seriously as you did, and I thought it was
I'm
kick-ass
analyzing
the
the
way
show
she
critically.
threw that onion.
She walloped them with that onion. Look,
That shit would hurt.
they're
too. It
nearly
was big.
dying. Like they're on the ground. One of them's body starts getting cold.
It's going into shock.
I know, but
It's called
you're
acting.
sacrificing a very good scene in terms of building the relationship of the parents by just trying to work some comedy in. And you had enough comedy in the show overall.
I don't know, Al. You suck.
Anything else you want to talk about on this episode? Chris?
I don't know. Overall, I just think that I feel like personally the main character, Eddie, is the worst.
Mm.
I don't know. I mean, there's such a connection in terms of his character with hip hop, and I feel like the actor doesn't. It's not coming from a genuine place for him, which is fine. I mean, he's a kid, and that's not stuff that he grew up with.
Right.
So he doesn't have that personal attachment, but you can see it, that it's not, a part of him like it is supposed to be of the character.
I thought another negative of both episodes, and really the series as a whole, because I think it's going to continue, is the narration by Eddie Huang, the actual, the writer of the book. I thought it was totally unnecessary, and it just pops up in some random places. It's not where you'd expect it at the beginning and closing of every
I don't think they
scene.
need it.
It doesn't. It's unnecessary. It's totally unnecessary.
What about you, Brian?
Yeah.
I really like the fact that Lewis came into his own for sure in this episode. He had some good moments. Constance Wu really shined first. She continued to shine even more in this one, but it also gave that kind of balance to her harsh, strict character with the father, who's a lot more easygoing, almost too American, really, or have really dialed into, the American culture being laid back and thinking people are genuinely good and almost believing in the American spirit or whatever. And I love the scenes with them when they were working there, almost like the cat's away, so the mice will play. It's like, oh yeah, they're going to plug the jukebox in, have as many napkins as you want.
But that's what makes me sad, though, is right now, remembering that, I'm laughing more than I laughed when I watched it. And I don't understand how that's possible, but it's true. I was literally just laughing to the side, thinking about the croutons, because I love croutons. But I don't know. I didn't laugh out loud when I saw it, which is, I don't know. Did you have that same experience? Did you laugh?
Oh, no, I actually laughed in this episode.
I don't know. I didn't actually laugh, and it's really weird. But I'm laughing now thinking about it.
Differing opinions. Okay, so what was your rating on this one, Chris?
Well, one of the things I liked, the little gag after the Chinese Learning Center was established, with Emery was in charge of writing down. Mm-hmm. So he called him a nerd or dweeb, and he goes, "Student Wang, slander." Little things like that.
Yeah.
Like I said, you almost forgot that
Huang,
this was 20.
Right?
Huang,
Huang.
What did I say?
Huang.
Huang.
Because I kept, he'd say Huang, and I was like, oh.
It's Huang.
Yeah.
So it's Huang.
Huang. I really like this episode, more so than the pilot. Mm-hmm. Overall, though, I feel that based on what people have said about the book, not having read the book myself, but wanting to now read it, where people say that there is some real comedy in what he wrote, and a lot of what made that book special, or for the people that read it, is missing in its translation. His parents were both strict, not just the mother. But obviously, it wouldn't make for good TV if they were both strict, because you need some of that. You need some of that license. If his mother did not hit those kids with a car, I might agree it slightly takes you out of the moment.
I highly doubt she actually did hit them with a car.
The Onion, she probably might have, but I thought the Onion was more preposterous than her hitting them with the car.
She did throw it quite far. I'm sorry, but hitting them, running 3 kids over with a van all under the age of 18, I don't think this woman, who's a mother of 3 herself, did.
Well, he's got some pumped up kicks, so.
All those, Jesus.
He better run. Outrun her van.
Splice it
and
out.
He did. He outran her van until
it worked so well.
until she hit him with the Onion.
Faster than my, what is it, bucket?
Gun.
I don't know. Faster than my bucket. Throwing a bucket of onions.
Just because you asked for my rating, 3.5.
Well, it's faster than my bullet.
I had this at a 2.5.
3.5. I thought this was much, much better than the pilot. There's something special here ABC has, although my feeling, based on what they've done with other shows, they'll squander it.
To correct what I just said, it's bullet. The first part is gun, and then the second one is bullet.
I was saying, it sounds like bucket.
Outrun my gun, and then it's faster than my bullet.
Bucket, yeah. What was your score on this?
I mean, I did think it was better than the first episode, but I didn't think it was that much improved. Like I said, I had the issue where I didn't laugh when I actually watched it, but I laughed now. Right. So when I wrote the rating down, it was before I just laughed now, and I gave it a 2.
Okay.
So.
In terms of actual ratings on this premiered February 4th. Weird premiere time, 8:30, and then they had the second episode from 9:30 to 10.
Strange.
They divvied it up with a Modern Family episode. The first episode
smart
had
though.
Huh?
Smart.
Is it smart?
Yeah, because people are going to tune in to see Modern Family.
Maybe.
So
I
you
guess.
have
You
the
start
draw,
early.
You start early,
And you,
and then you keep
leave it
them
on.
because you're like, well, I kind of like that one. I might as well see what's on. What the second.
Or you
episode
forget
was.
to turn off the TV like Brian does all the time and watches Chicago Fire.
I give Chicago Fire ratings it should not get.
First episode. You're not a Nielsen
don't
family.
need your
You don't get any
ratings.
ratings.
That's what you think.
Who do you think you
I know
are?
you're not a Nielsen. You would have told me like 14 times. Can you imagine?
That's-
You would have told everyone on this podcast.
Every episode.
Yeah.
Every time we gave a rating. And mine was on there.
And my Nielsen rating is
I believe that is against the
code.
agreement.
I read an article
Wink.
about what you need to do, and
Wink.
it's really like super
No,
complicated.
fuck that. That's why I don't trust those ratings for shit.
It's
The
so,
people that are willing to go through that,
it's so
they're
important for
crazy.
selling ads.
yeah, not
right.
anymore. Did you see how much they lost in revenue?
Nielsen?
No, ads.
Oh no,
TV regular ads over streaming.
it's
A
good
lot.
for streaming.
Big chunk of change.
Fresh off the boat, 8:30 had a 2.5 rating in ages 18 to 49 with an 8 share and 7.94 million viewers. So that's actually up 9% over the latest episode of The Goldbergs at the same time.
Right.
The 9:30 episode also did pretty well, 2.3 rating with a 7 share and 7.45 million viewers.
Not bad. Not a big drop off.
Also worth saying, it actually added in key viewership from the middle, which started from 8 to 8:30. So,
Which I like that show a lot.
do you?
Yeah.
I can't stand it. Every time I see it, I always just wish there was an episode of Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah.
I love Patricia Heaton, but I love her as Deborah.
She had to move on.
She won Emmys, buddy. She won Emmys.
I'm not
there.
saying she wasn't
hasn't
good.
won an Emmy for this. Let's go to Allegiance.
Yes.
Allegiance. On NBC, it's if you've watched The Americans, you kind of know what this is about.
No.
Basically, you haven't watched
I
Americans.
haven't watched
haven't either.
Americans.
This centers on a couple of former Soviet sleeper cells in the United States who were reactivated when a when a Russian, now, I have to remember the year,
When they forgot to unplug the toaster and they got zapped.
when a Russian, a person who works for the,
Ex-KGB SSR agent.
is she's in, what is the acronym that they use? It's not KGB.
SSR.
It's not SSR, it's SVR.
No.
Yeah.
What are you talking
It's
about?
SVR. It went from KGB to SVR.
I thought it went to SSR.
No. You're thinking USSR.
No, I'm not.
Because that's what
I thought-
you SS thinking.
Obviously, my eyes are playing tricks on me.
Yes.
But okay.
Uh,
You say so.
SVR. When an SVR agent wants to defect and bring a lot of information with her, they're reactivated so that they can convince their son, who is a new CIA analyst,
Mhm.
to basically go against
Flip.
the United States. And he's also working this case, so try to like hide some of the leaks, and that's what their goal is. At the same time, they don't want to do this because they're settled in the United States. Their spying days are behind them, and this episode really focuses on them trying to get out of having to turn their son. What do you think of the show, Chris?
I really liked it.
Okay.
I think maybe 10 minutes in, I stopped for a second. I don't know if it was to go to the bathroom or something. And I was talking to you about it. And I was like, oh, I really like it. And you were like, really? And I'm like, yeah.
I'm
So
shocked
it was
that you
only
like
10
it.
minutes in, so I didn't know if it was going to get good or get bad. But I really liked it. I think the characters were all interesting. The acting was really good. I think, even though I don't like political stuff and I don't like spy stuff, I think it was very easy to follow. Maybe if you want, sort of a show that's heavier on that kind of like political feel, maybe this isn't for you. But for me, it was perfect in terms of the amount of CIA, FBI, KGB, SVR,
SSR.
information
Power
that you had
Rangers,
to already
all-
have.
yeah.
Like you didn't have to know anything to.
Here's the nice thing. In addition to the characters, you already get a feel and you kind of get involved in the life of these characters. You get to learn new things as the show progresses. You start to pick up relationships. You don't necessarily know who everybody is, and everyone, thinks they know everything, and obviously they don't. Another nice thing, it wasn't a monster of the week type thing. They actually built up to something for the future.
Mm.
You get a little bit of a payoff here. You get a little bit payoff here, and you get the cliffhanger ending, but it builds and is building to something new.
Right.
I think the way it built too was it was like a very natural build that kept you continuously interested.
Yep.
There wasn't a point where you're like, oh, really? Like, come on.
There wasn't a hard right turn, left turn like you have sometimes, or an abrupt stop or a halt, or where you just kind of fall off the cliff because there was just nothing. There's nothing left. It took you to the top, and then that's it. And you kind of feel at the end, well, why do I need to watch this show?
I feel like if they had given you the background of the parents in a different way, you might have not liked them as characters. But I feel like the way that they handled it from the very beginning sort of made you care for them as people, whether or not they were spies. Well, obviously they were spies, but you know, that doesn't.
Chris isn't convinced.
Obviously, I'm American and I'm proud to be an American, but I don't like.
Where at least you know you're free.
But I don't. That doesn't affect my, you know, enjoyment of them as characters or my liking them. Like, I'm still rooting for them, even though I don't agree with what they're doing in terms of spying on their son.
I think one of the smart things that the show does, and it's one of the things I wanted to do when we first heard about it, was it focuses on the family. You know, certainly they're spies, but everything they do, more than being spies, is focused on preserving their family.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, but also to kind of hijack your comment, the main character isn't the mother and the father or the spies, it's the son.
I feel like in the long term, the main character is probably going to be the mother and the father.
I think it's always going to be the son.
I think so too.
I think it's important for it to be the son.
And I actually loved the son. Like, I thought he was a great character. Even at the very beginning, they don't build him up as much because you do need, like I said before, you kind of need that moment to really get into who the parents are as people and what they're like now, apart from what they did in their past, before you sort of get into the son's character. So you really don't get to know him that well until about halfway into the episode, when you start to see these like little things that he can do that, you know, aren't common.
There's somewhat of like a Suits aspect to the show where the son, Alex, he's specially able, shall we say, where they tell a story about him when he was 8. He wasn't speaking yet, and then just one day he decided to speak, and he spoke perfect English. And then he couldn't read, and then one day at the age of 9, he was able to read Anna Karenina. There's this aspect where, you know, he has these special set of abilities which help him in his job, and they help him to impress the people who, even though he's a new person there, he's doing very, very good. It's similar to Suits in that way, where I forget the character's name, but one of them is a new lawyer who is able to, like, he has a photographic memory or something.
I read all 400 pages.
But he does have issues, though. I mean, when he's putting on his tie, you see he kind of has like almost like a mini nervous breakdown, and
it's hard to do.
And it had nothing to do with the tie, but his mother sort of talks him through it.
Listen, I need to borrow one of Dad's ties for my meeting.
How come you didn't just bring a tie from Washington?
Well,
I gave you 4 ties for Christmas.
No, I know. I never need to wear them for work.
Did you throw them away?
I donated them, Mom.
Do you need my help? Okay, just work your steps. Good.
The whole episode, they're sort of building up the fact that he had such a rough childhood, and you kind of don't know what it is for a bit. You think maybe he saw something. But
isn't this a nice little bit of intrigue?
I think it was so well done.
You don't get hit over the head with it for a change. They drop little elements of, could this be this? Could that be that? And then you start to question, you start to ask, where is this going to go? Maybe I want to see more of this. And then that finally, it's a well-written show. Although, you know, the parallels that are drawn to the Americans is hard to, you know.
Yeah. Or something like The Assets, if you remember that. And the point I was making here
Don't bring
is...
that piece of shit up.
Yeah, that was garbage.
Where this succeeds, where The Assets failed, is by focusing on the family, you set these spies up as somewhat admirable characters.
Mm.
As where The Assets, even though... Well, there was only 2 episodes aired, so we never really saw where they were going.
We only saw one of them.
But
I didn't even watch that.
The actual spy, or I forget what his name, you know, the asset in the CIA, I don't think he's much of a family man. I think the focus in terms of family is on the person hunting him, which I thought was a mistake.
And it was weak.
Yeah. Also, it was a terrible show.
It did. I mean, it's created by the same person who created Revenge, I believe.
I'm not sure about that.
I think it's from the creators of Revenge.
Okay,
I think that's
Well,
what they
while
said.
you Google that, I have a joke for Al.
by all means.
Wait, I was gonna say something.
okay.
Why don't you Google it?
Yeah.
Fine.
And why
Jeez.
doesn't Chris tell me a joke? Chris,
Yeah.
do it.
Revenge is best served cold, and it's freaking cold out. That wasn't a joke. Anyway, the girl who plays
And Mark for editing.
the girl who plays his older sister is actually from Revenge. She used to be on Revenge.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
I want to talk about the older sister. Glad you brought that up.
But to me, it does sort of have kind of a Revenge feel, only because so much of it is about the family.
And there's a lot of cloak and dagger hidden stuff.
Yeah, I think one of the things Revenge, I mean, in the beginning, because I don't watch it anymore, but I watched the first 3 seasons, maybe the first 2 seasons. One of the things Revenge did so well was it kind of built the suspense out very well. And I mean, it's a different situation, that's all about revenge and, seeking revenge.
Do you happen to know what the name of the actress from Revenge is? The main one?
Oh my god, she has like a really ritzy sounding last name.
She is very
Emily
pretty.
Van de Kamp?
I don't know.
Emily.
She used to be on.
No, that's her character's
I
name.
don't know. She used to be on Brothers. You're both Googling now. She used to be on Brothers and Sisters, and part of the reason I watch that show is just because how pretty she is. She is gorgeous. But we're talking about the
Didn't
sister
she used
Natalie.
to be on that show on CW?
Which one?
Was
Yeah,
that
she
it?
did. Everwood.
Everyone.
No.
When she dated, well, in real life, she dated Chris Pratt, who played her older brother on the show.
Uh-huh.
That's super weird. The
Tidbits.
sister.
She also, I don't know if she's engaged to him, but she dates,
It's Emily Van Camp.
see, something like that. She dates the guy who she plays with, she plays
Cut.
his fiance or girlfriend. I don't know, depending on what stage of the show you got to.
Right.
On Revenge, they dated.
She's dating him now.
Yeah, she has everything she's in, she dates her co-star. Like she is no joke.
Well, if she'd like to be on an episode of Antenna.
Many times she dates her co-host or her co-host.
Now you're
I'm
just
gonna
off-
stop talking.
Now you're off the bend.
Please
Anyway, so we're talking about the character of Natalie, the older sister, who, by the way, is also a sleeper for the, not KGB, the SVR. And one of the main things that really bugged me about her character when it happened is towards the end, their handler, for lack of a better phrase, in the U.S. is a guy named Victor, and he's the one that actually tries to actually reactivates them.
Fred Capone.
He just happens to have a relationship with Natalie, which is never alluded to, never really talked about. You don't really get anything about the character of Natalie. And then at the end, they just throw in this 30-second scene where she walks up to him, slaps him twice, and then kisses him and smiles, because that's character growth. I hated that. There was no build to it. It added nothing to either character, and it added nothing to the story overall. Thought it was really dumb.
Well, I don't know. I don't think it was that dumb.
It really bugged me.
I thought it was a little lazy. I don't think it was that bad, though. I just thought it was expected almost. You almost kind of expected her to have this weird angle, because then she's kind of where you find that the father and the mother are very, want to protect their son Alex. She is almost like this is what she's been waiting for, to get revenge on her parents for putting her in that position later. So you almost expected her to want, kind of go by the beat of her own drum kind of thing.
I suppose.
But
Overall, I think the show is very
it's weak.
I call the show uniquely bland, and here's why. Here's why. You have a somewhat interesting plot or structure to the show, but I felt like none of the writing really snapped with the believability or realism that you need in a very, very good show.
What realism do you need?
When I say realism, I mean realism of the actors. The believability of this is more than just a role for them. This is what is actually happening. In good shows, actors are able to transcend their lines and make you believe that the actor is actually a person saying these lines.
And I believed it the whole time.
Didn't. I felt like, although the story was okay, I didn't think it was it blew me away or anything. I felt like the whole time I was watching a group of actors acting out a story. Not like when I watch The Americans or Breaking Bad or any really good drama where I get sucked in, or Fargo for that matter.
I think for the most part, most of the characters, I wasn't taken out of it. I wasn't thinking, oh, this is an actor. In terms of Scott Cohen, because I've seen him in so many things.
Scott Cohen plays the father.
And I met him once.
Did you?
Yeah, we had a conversation about this once on the podcast.
Oh, I thought you meant we had you and Scott Cohen had a conversation about this show.
No.
Recent.
No, it was when I was working at Hunter.
Oh.
He
walked into Zucker's office.
Yeah, he was
Like, Zucker's a sleeper. Son of a bitch. That's why he bought you all. That's why he bought all that vodka.
Zucker didn't know him though.
No.
No. He was
And
teaching.
he always liked the red Apple products.
Anyway, did you guys notice his eyebrows?
Oh, sir, no.
Do you know
I
what his
didn't.
eyebrows normally?
You notice everyone's eyebrows.
I know what his eyebrows normally look like, and it
Slightly
looks like something
obsessed.
happened to his eyebrows. Like they were shorter.
I know what his eyebrows normally look
'cause
like.
I've
It's
seen
the
him in
weirdest
things
thing you've ever
before.
said.
I know it isn't.
Admit it. It's super weird.
It's not. I know what his eyebrows normally look like because I've seen him in other things.
As far
It looked like he burnt them off or something, or someone got overzealous with plucking, and they're shorter. So it's kind of like he took off a bit on each end, and they're like just the bit in the middle.
Right.
Look at a picture from that episode, a screenshot. Please.
Creator of the show, George Nolfi, wrote the screenplay for Adjustment Bureau and was a producer on it. Also wrote for The Bourne
Identity.
Supremacy.
Okay.
Ultimatum.
I'm
sorry.
literally
Bourne
gonna have to look it
Ultimatum.
up to see if he wrote.
You guys, this is
Ocean's
just like
12.
us. It's just you guys Googling to a microphone.
I'm literally gonna have to look it up to see if he wrote Revenge or
He
if
didn't. He has no.
Okay. Anyway, in terms of production, one of the things that annoyed me most about this show, or at least this specific episode, maybe they change it in the future, is the fact that there is so much background music everywhere.
Yeah.
Watch the first 15 minutes of this show and try to find a scene that isn't, featuring some sort of background music. It's going to be freaking hard.
It's again. I think, like I said, I think it falls to the pilot jitters of they might not be comfortable with the silence or the strength of the dialogue to drive.
But that's
through.
really annoying because all that does is weaken the dialogue. That's all it does. Especially in the first scene when the Russian agent who wants to defect is talking. I couldn't understand a word she was saying because she's speaking English in a Russian accent and you have this really annoying music over it. It's impossible to understand.
I had it in closed captioning anyway, so I guess I didn't notice as much. There were a lot of, in parentheses, ominous music. Or this type, or Blue Danube was playing.
Yes, it was, which maybe was the weirdest of all of the
No,
choices.
it wasn't. Actually, I enjoyed it.
What I will say about the writing is in this specific episode, I am glad that the parents, Katya and I forget what the father's name is, but I'm glad that they actually, in this episode, go out and try to get around recruiting their son by whatever means necessary. They try to trick the SVR into thinking that they're doing it while they're planning an escape. That falls through. At one point, Katya tries to just turn herself in, but she's convinced to not do so. They really try to exhaust every possibility to save their son before having to convert him, and I like that. Because really, me as a critic would have easily gone, well, you could have easily just left the country, or you could have easily just turned yourself in, which I had written down until she went to go turn herself in. You were saying, Brian?
See? Shut up, Al.
I appreciate that they
Legion
took care of
says,
that.
"Shut up, Al."
In terms of production, I also like the
That's the
fact
show
that
title.
they were driving realistic cars.
Yeah.
They weren't driving like
She was driving a BMW.
a G-Wagon. Yeah, but it wasn't a
She
new
got
model
money.
BMW.
She's
a doctor. But she wasn't driving like an 8 Series,
Did you notice when she crashes that BMW into her husband's SUV, but no airbag deployed at all?
No, well, because the stunt driver would have gotten hurt.
Still, in reality, there would have been an airbag.
Yeah, well, that's just an oversight.
Yes, it is.
But
And she hit pretty damn hard. Her hood bent up and everything.
yeah, it was a slow speed crash. What it was, I'm just saying.
No, I'm saying, say something afterwards. You say slow speed crash, and then you just pause for 3 seconds.
Because, well, they actually use this. It was actually done practically. It wasn't like CGI'd or anything.
No.
They use a stunt driver and they disable the airbag because the stunt driver might get hurt.
Yeah, but when you cut back to her in the car
I
getting
underst-
out, there should be an airbag.
I understand. There should be. You should
Mistake.
boycott the show.
I'm not going to boycott it. I'm not nearly as high on it as you guys are. Like I said, I thought while there is an interesting story going on here, the acting and even the writing kept me from wanting to see more.
Haven't seen The Americans. The creator says that there's a distinct difference that you'll see in the second episode that will eliminate the parallel, and kind of push forward the fact that it is a different show.
Right.
Obviously, I see the parallels just from watching the little bit of Americans I've seen on previews. And the fact that it's a couple that they're Russian spies in America.
And they're trying to hide it from their family.
And they're trying to hide from their
Yeah.
family and all that stuff.
Should be said, Hope Davis, who plays Katya on the show, looks really good for the age of 50. Because there was a point where they introduced Alex, the son, and then they cut to like his mother, and they revealed it's his mother. I'm like, that's your mother? She looks like 10 years older than you. And legitimately, she's 50 and he's like 30. So that's it's believable, but she looks really good for her age.
It's well cast. I think the
I
show's well
commend
cast.
her.
I think the two things that these shows that we discussed this week were the casting is really good. There's believability when these actors are in the same room together, sharing dialogue. This could be the mother-son. That scene when he showed up was believable. She was happy to see him. When she was helping him with the tie, you could see, almost believe that the mother was in fact trying to help her son. It wasn't so corny and whatever. It was almost, like I said, it was almost fully, I thought it was natural. Al's giving me this.
I'm giving you the semi hand where I wave it up and down on different sides, meaning that kind of, but not really.
You have numbers for this?
I do have numbers for this, but first let's go to our numbers for this. Brian, what was your rating on
I gave it a 3.5.
3.5 out of 5.
Solid pilot. Very impressed.
Chris?
Very impressed.
I also gave it a 3.5.
I had this at a 2.5. So somewhere in the middle. I thought it was okay. There were some good aspects to it, but I wasn't really blown away. And if I wanted to, would I have seen more? Honestly, I probably would have just gone to Amazon and watched the rest of the Americans that I have sitting there.
Well, it's tough to compete for new stuff. I think, NBC's got at least a decent chance at something here. For a mid-season show, it's not bad. It's definitely something I'd rather watch than Ryan Phillippe, whatever his show, Secrets.
Which
Secrets and Lies.
I found out. Did you guys know that Secrets and Lies is a remake?
No. Did you know
Because
this is
the
also
original.
Did you know this is also a remake?
This is an Israeli show. Yeah.
Okay. The original Secrets and Lies, which is also called Secrets and Lies,
Go figure.
is on Netflix. I saw
Son of a bitch.
I saw that it was up the other day
So now,
because it suggested it as a show because of something else I watched.
so now you can go to Netflix and watch it.
That
and
one
tell
looked-
us
that one
how much
actually
better
looked
that one
good.
is.
Like just the pictures. All I saw was the pictures. I
Those
was like, that
photos
looks
were
good.
well taken. Like
Yeah.
it was well lit. B911B will tell you about it. It's not the easiest thing in the world.
Photos?
Photos. It's not. There's a lot
Lighting.
of technology there.
When my ass has to get out of bed at like 10 in the morning on a Saturday to take blog photos.
It's true. Chris Conker's also
It's
Italian.
awful.
I'm just gonna refer to you by your websites now.
That's all right.
Looking at ratings on this, I was premiered on the 5th last night and didn't do all that well. Had a 1.1 and a 3 share in 18 to 49 with 4.9 million viewers. Now, that's a drop from the most recent episodes of Parenthood, which aired in that time slot, which never went below a 1.3.
But Parenthood was ending.
Parenthood ended already. Yeah.
Well, I mean, those are the last episodes.
Yeah.
So that was it. As far as, so it had an established base. It's not necessarily a fair comparison.
But it did have a lead-in of Blacklist, which is one of their biggest shows.
I was going to say, one of the problems too, it has their best lead-in. It is the strongest show on NBC right now. It's competing against ABC's strongest shows on Thursday, which are How to Get Away with Murder and Scandal and Grey's Anatomy.
Right, but in all fairness, they are up against How to Get Away with Murder, which is, I would say, the weakest of the three in ratings.
But I think
that still crushed this though. That had a 2.7 in terms of 18 to 40.
I think they're competing for similar audiences. I don't think this is a show that would become a Blacklist, but it definitely has better. It's better than The Assets, and I think it'll make the whole run.
I could see this getting.
I'm actually
13
going to watch episode 2.
Okay, Chris, would you watch episode 2?
Yes, and I will.
Will you watch episode 3 of Fresh Off the Boat?
No.
Yes,
Brian,
I will.
Yes,
I will not.
I might.
I
promise you that
I
much.
was not, and actually, I was going to come in and tell you guys today that I would refuse to watch the second episode based on the pilot. However, after watching the second episode, I'm going to watch the third. Okay. I thought it was that much better. The improvement was great. Yeah.
Speaking of improvements, it's always improving is the reviews of both beauty supplies and romance novels over at
Beauty
ChrisConkers.com.
supplies.
Yes.
Getting them supplies.
Makeups. Like I said yesterday. Makeups. I'll take 3 makeups and a broom. Chris, what's happening over at ChrisConkers.com?
There is preparation
H?
going underway. No, sorry.
You should review that.
No, that's not gonna happen.
I'll do a buddy review.
No,
a
thanks.
buddy
That's nice.
review.
No.
Go on. Aces. No. Chris Conkers.
There is preparation going on for Valentine's Day. So I'm going to be working on some posts to go up for this upcoming week. A lovely red lip post, some book reviews. I've got a stop on a blog tour on Friday, I think. And yeah, so some date night looks for Valentine's Day.
And what you've been watching in January just went up.
That did just go up. There were 5 lovely shows on there. There's Empire, Downton Abbey, The Fall, which season 2 is up on Netflix now. Grand Hotel, which is a Spanish series about a grand hotel
Go figure.
in the early 1900s, and basically a disappearance, murder that takes place, and the maid who disappears, her brother.
You like shows.
I like suspenseful shows.
But like take place in like one central like building, because you like that one with the Spanish
Velvet.
shopping. Yeah.
Fucking love Velvet. Which was, if you read my post, that's why I started watching Grand Hotel, because I wanted to look for another, Spanish show or just another foreign show in general that I hadn't heard about that might be like a, an undiscovered gem for me. So, it wasn't as good as Velvet. It's a very different feel from Velvet. It's much more of a whodunit, and it's got definitely more of like a Downton Abbey sort of flair, because you do have that, it's 1905 and, you're just getting electricity. It's that sort of, family dynamic, but it's not really the same sense of camaraderie that you have with Downton or with Velvet.
And your Ipsy bag review, also up there
My
on
Ipsy-
ChrisConkers.com. I'm just looking at your website and telling people what.
Yes, I
talk about
reviewed my January Ipsy bag, so I tested out all the products and put that up.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. Brayan Cassis,
Al.
the photo blogger extraordinaire, as I like to remind people, over at B911B Photo on Instagram, b911b.com on the internet.
Interwebs.
All that. Most recent post is of a seagull, I believe.
Yeah, seagull in the harbor, looking at Ellis Island.
And I see you also took the 7 train during some sort of snowstorm, because I see that building that I recognize.
No, I actually took the railroad.
Oh, is it the railroad?
Yeah.
You elitist. Won't ride with the common man eating their mugu gai pan at 7 in the morning.
No.
Shame on you. Well, look for lots of photos going up there. Do you have anything planned?
I've been trying to get a lot more stuff from the city out.
Mm-hmm.
It's just obviously easier. So I figured let me roll out some stuff. I am planning to throw some DC stuff next week for President's Week. Just because. When am I going to throw my Lincoln stuff out there?
Good point.
I am traveling in March. I got a little U.S. road trip. I'm going to be hitting a bunch of states. Tennessee,
God
North.
help your wife and child.
I got fun stuff planned.
Yeah.
Fun stuff.
Fun stuff where dad has to take 5,000 pictures before.
Fun stuff where dad is away from wife and kid for a while taking photos.
Yeah,
Not
honey.
really.
Just 5 more minutes. I just need to take.
I'm going to be sitting in Lincoln's lap, and you guys can be over there.
Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia.
He's coming to you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys want to meet up or maybe tweet up with Brayan, let us know on Twitter. And
No.
Yeah,
set it
Brian
up.
would totally do a meetup,
Oh,
right?
he's so
Come on.
he loves all of you.
Yeah, all of his followers.
No.
His,
not when I'm with family. If I was on my
His
own, I
legion
wouldn't
of
mind.
Brian. We need to come up with Brian's fans, like a name.
There
for
wouldn't
Brian's
be
fans.
any. Nobody likes Brian.
A name for Brian's fans: the empty room. Chris, if people want to suggest names for Brian's fans or for Antenna Heads fans, where can they do that?
Wait. I just came up with one for my fans.
Head cheese.
I don't have any.
What's yours?
But mine would be Chris Conquistadors or like Conquistadors, or I don't know.
Conquistadors.
Conquistadors. No
That's so
H.
much better. Damn you.
Dustin off the shoulder. This is why I come up with names for things, folks.
Conquistadors.
That's not true.
No
Yeah, it
H.
is.
I can come up with way better names than you do.
Antenna heads.
Practical.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay.
And register that, and we're done. Chris, where can they do all that?
Where can they register
Where
your
can they register
website?
Practical? Where can they suggest names for themselves?
Well,
And where can they tell us how much they love antenna heads?
if you follow us on the street, that's a great way. But
It's like-
please don't do that because
it's like-
it's really creepy.
That's
Creepy,
rape.
dude.
And Al doesn't leave the house anymore, so.
If you want to follow me around my living room,
And could someone please tweet Al what rape means? Because he obviously doesn't
fine.
understand
It's
that.
like pre-rape.
It's stalking.
Fine. I don't watch that show.
Okay. Apparently a
learn
lot of
something,
people
yeah.
don't because it's being canceled.
It's not.
Yeah, it
It got
is.
picked up.
That's not what I heard.
I believe it.
No, I think it picked up. It's on the bubble, I think.
I thought. Well, you keep okay.
It better not be.
I thought I got a full season order at least.
Yeah,
well,
but that's
it
not.
did, but that's not renewal.
If it gets a full season order, it's a pretty
Anyway,
good time.
you can tweet us on Twitter at antenna_heads. You can listen to our newest episodes and our oldest episodes on our website, broadcast.com.
And all the episodes in between.
Yeah, those two. Why do you gotta ruin everything?
I'm sorry.
It was perfectly fine without you.
It was.
Yeah.
I'll just leave.
Way to interrupt.
Speeches and interrupt us. You can listen to our episodes on SoundCloud, TuneIn, Stitcher, iTunes, and now on YouTube with some lovely photographic accompaniment. You can, which of course, you know, if you just listen anywhere else, you can't get that.
No, because of audio.
Yeah, but it's lovely pictures. Al puts a lot of effort into that.
I do. It's more with timing with changes than anything else.
Yeah, it's
honestly,
difficult.
I can get one done in like 40 minutes. It's not that hard.
I mean, he's getting, you know, press photos and stuff.
am.
He's getting the good stuff.
I realize because I have to do the flash every like other week.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like,
yeah.
if I just go to CW, they have a bunch of like available photos, and they want to give them to me because come on, you're a CW. What are you gonna do? We're number 5. We're number 5.
Stalker's not been renewed.
It hasn't.
No.
No, but it hasn't been canceled.
No, but it's just dangerously close. to
It'll
being
get renewed.
canceled. Wanna make a
And
wager?
I'll put $1 on it.
$1?
Yeah.
Done.
Okay, done. You hear it here. Audio evidence. Chris, you're witnessing.
yeah. I'm
Katie's
finishing.
a witness.
Can I finish this up now? Also, you guys should subscribe to our YouTube channel
Yeah.
because subscribers are great,
Yeah.
and you can get us right in your little
Feed.
subscriber queue.
Feed.
My subscriptions. If you go to my subscriptions on the side, all your lovely
Right there.
videos
With
right
our lovely
there.
logo.
I do it all the time. All my beauty blogs, all my other stuff.
I told you guys on like episode 4 I wanted to do like an all YouTube
I
channel.
know, and I said I could, but Brian doesn't use the
Brian?
YouTubes.
I know.
He thinks it's for old
Fucking
people,
old.
which it's not. You're for old
Brian,
people.
Who
Brian.
said it was for old people? I never said it
No,
was
you
for old
said
people.
you
Didn't you
said
say it last week?
I was
episode-
too old for
No,
YouTube.
last episode you said you had to dumb everything you said down because you were on YouTube now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're being
but
a
what
little
does
bitch.
that mean?
What does that mean?
Yeah.
It means you're being offensive to everyone who
Yeah.
listens to us on YouTube. By the way, our YouTube listenership is at the levels of our other listenership.
By the way, do you
No,
know
no,
how
I-
many people who are vloggers and bloggers and shit on YouTube, or, you know, YouTubers, they got books out.
Oh, yeah.
They're making millions, making more
Dollar-
money than
dollar
J.K.
bills.
Rowling.
I don't
No,
know.
seriously.
Oh, there was that one. Yeah.
Zoella.
Yeah.
Yeah. Zoella. And now Tanya Burr's got a book out.
Yeah.
Love Tanya.
Love
Well,
her.
All I have to say
What's
is that
up, Tay
No, her
Tay?
book is Love Tanya.
Oh.
all
I. love
It's
Tanya.
Tan.
Huh?
Tan is her nickname.
I can't personally. I can't wait
Okay.
for the Antenna Heads Etsy store to open, where we sell.
Oh, I can't
all
wait for
sorts
Brian
of,
to do that.
But-
That'd be great for
all
Brian
sorts
to
of
do.
Antenna Heads
Tanya?
branded stuff.
Her boyfriend is a YouTuber.
Yeah.
I think it's her fiance, maybe. Her fiance is a YouTuber. His brothers are YouTubers. His sisters are makeup artists, and they're YouTubers. They're the ones who have the Real Techniques, the makeup brushes line.
Uh-huh.
The ones that I have that have the colored handles.
I know the ones.
Yeah.
The
So
ones I use when you're not around.
everybody in that family is a YouTuber.
Very good.
Anyway, YouTube
Pretty
is
much everybody in this family is a
important
YouTuber.
in this culture, and
Now
lots
we're
of
there.
people make lots of money off YouTube.
Absolutely.
What about? Didn't you hear about that woman who like unwraps toys on YouTube? She like Happy Meals
There-
toys
there's
or
actually-
something, and
no,
she's
I
like,
watched that one. There's one where it's a guy who like has a massive collection of Happy
no,
Meal
there's a
toys.
woman who like shows toys or something, and she like made like $500,000
It was like a
last
review
year or
of
something.
kids' toys, of like
I don't remember what it was,
like toddler toys.
but hey, people make lots of money off
And
YouTube.
now we're there too, so we're just as good as all of them.
But of course, we don't have the subscribers. So if you listen to us, subscribe, thumbs up our videos, you know, you're really helping us out.
Yep.
Maybe even comment with something nice.
Maybe even tell your friends about us and share it on your social networks. All of them. Pinterest, LinkedIn, Twitter, I hear, is a big thing.
Instagram,
The Facebook one, the one with the face.
MySpace,
SoundCloud,
Friendster, Snapchat,
High Five, if that still exists.
Who Say,
What's It? That might be real.
WhatsApp.
WhatsApp. Well, share us on WhatsApp. I said
What's
It
It?
might be real.
Tumblr.
Snapchat, if you want to Snapchat us. Don't.
You got a WordPress blog? Put us on there. We're fine.
There. If you want to just like cut out like our logo and just put it on cars as they drive by, that's also appreciated.
No, that's gonna get us into trouble.
It's fine. We have no money to take. Tattoos, if you want to get one, we'll review whatever show you want. Okay?
God damn it. We'll even put you on the show.
No. We're not flying you out. Go to fuck.
No.
Go
but
to fuck.
If you get here, we'll let you sit in our living room and eat some chips with us.
Some. Not all the chips.
That's
Don't
Brian's
hog our
job.
chips. Very good, Chris.
And I think that was it.
And subscribe on iTunes and all the other places that you should actually subscribe.
Yeah.
And who's it if it exists?
It doesn't.
Sounds like a Dr. Seuss thing. So for Cristina Araujo and Alex Araujo, this is Brian Casa saying thank you for listening to episode 79 of Antenna Heads.